Hello, everybody. My name is Tom DeGennaro, and I'm one of the attorneys here at Crepeau Mourges, and I'm going to be talking about collection alternatives. Now, what is a collection alternative? Generally, when a taxpayer owes a balance with the IRS, they have two options. They can fully pay that balance, or they can enter into a collection alternative. There are four types of collection alternatives: full pay payment plan, partial pay payment plan, currently non-collectible, and offer in compromise. The first one, full pay payment plan, is when a taxpayer fully pays the amount owed within the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations is the time that the that the IRS has to collect the taxes from the taxpayer. When that time runs out, the IRS has no ability to collect those taxes from the taxpayer. In determining whether or not you are a quote unquote candidate for a full pay payment plan, the IRS looks at how much you owe, how much your income is, and how much are your expenses. And one note on the expenses is that not all of your expenses are counted by the IRS. They have what is called standards for some topics. So they can either reduce or completely disallow your expenses. So long story short, just because you have a certain expense does not mean the IRS will consider that when determining how much you should be paying on a payment plan. The second option is a partial pay payment plan. A partial pay payment plan is similar to a full pay payment plan, except it is for people who don't qualify for a full pay payment plan. And the same things that I said about the full pay payment plan apply to the partial pay payment plan. The IRS looks at your expenses, income, and the amount that you owe. The third option is currently non-collectible, sometimes referred to as CNC. Being in CNC status is favorable because the IRS essentially says that you are not going to be able to pay without experiencing an undue hardship. So if you have no or very little income, the IRS essentially says they're going to leave you alone. The good thing about this is that the statute of limitations does run when you're in CNC status. The bad thing is that CNC status isn't guaranteed or forever. If your income goes up in the future, the IRS could circle back and say, hey, we're going to pull you out of CNC status and pursue collection from you. So I like to think of it as the debt kind of being on the back burner and the IRS leaving you alone. So that leads us to the fourth collection alternative, which is offer in compromise, also sometimes referred to as OIC. OIC is when the taxpayer says to the IRS, will you accept an amount less than the full amount that I owe? This requires submitting a detailed financial form and also the underlying documents. So like with the payment plan before, where you had to explain your income and expenses, it is the same thing except much more detailed. There are two types of offers in compromise, generally speaking. You can submit an offer in compromise on the grounds of doubt as to liability. That's generally just saying, hey, the IRS incorrectly determined how much money I owe, therefore I'm not going to pay this amount. The more common is doubt as to collectability, meaning the amount is correct, but you as in the IRS will not be able to collect that from me because of these circumstances. The OIC process is very lengthy in addition to being very detailed. You should expect a process of between 12 and 24 months from submitting the OIC to getting an outcome. And one of the downsides of the OIC is that when you submit it, the statute of limitations stops running. So that shot clock that the IRS has for collecting taxes from you is paused from the time that the OIC is submitted until it is determined whether granted or denied. So that generally is the four collection alternatives that taxpayers have when they have an amount that they owe that they owe to the IRS, that they cannot immediately pay. Which one works for you really depends on the facts and circumstances of your specific case, depends on what kind of taxes you owe, what's your income, what's your expenses. And these are all questions that you should consult with an attorney to determine what, if any, collection alternative is available for you. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us, any of the attorneys here at Crepeau Mourges, and we'd be glad to determine whether or not a collection alternative is a viable strategy for you.